What's up, YouTube? Adam Grover here, coming at you with another video. I want to talk about the Foxbody, the main Foxbody issue. It's like a little Foxbody pandemic, basically. Doesn't matter if it's a Thunderbird, a Mustang, Fairmont, Zephyr, Capri, anything Foxbody, platform, Granada, all of them. The strut towers. I want to talk about, is it worth it? The tools you're going to need, how much it's going to at least cost you if you do it yourself, and how much it possibly could cost you to take it somewhere. So, that being said, let's get into this whole thing. Now, some of you guys may be new to the Foxbodies, may be new to welding. You might not even know how to weld or fabricate. Continue to watch this because I'm going to be talking to you guys a little later on in the video. Don't let it deter you. Don't let this stuff scare you off. These cars are going up in price. Right now they're kind of on a downslope a little bit because of the economy. But this is part of saving these cars, keeping them around. There's a lot of cars now that you'll see popping up for sale that need strut towers. They need the strut towers repaired. So either you buy a car that's expensive, which isn't the case for everybody. Not everybody can afford to go buy a beautiful garage kept Mustang or Fairmont. I mean, I see some of these things. There's a wagon I think the guy wanted $20,000 for. Beautiful car, not worth 20 grand. I'm sorry. No Fairmont in my mind, unless it's got a Coyote swap, like nice AC, hop in, run nines, maybe with a Whipple on it or something. That's the only way, 20 up. A factory Fairmont, it's not worth 20 grand. I'm sorry. I don't care if it's a wagon, a coupe. I don't care if it has one door on it. And it's the most super rare Fairmont ever made. Not $20,000. All right, that's for a collector if they want that. My point is, some of these cars ain't worth it. A Mustang even, they got to be mint to bring that kind of money. And to me, they have to be like a one-off car. That's not what this video is necessarily about, though. It's not about what the cars are so much worth, but is the car worth fixing and keeping around? These cars get junked left and right. I just saw another one. For some reason, they got rid of the car. I'm not sure what the reason is, but the car looked like everything was there. So why it went to an auction, I don't know. But they go to a junkyard constantly. People junk them because of the strut towers being rotted. This car here, I'm surprised the guy actually didn't junk it. Probably because it's a wagon. And they're hard to find. But I knew this car needed towers in it before I even bought it. When I saw the car for sale, it's like, oh, okay, needs towers. The guy straight out said, needs towers, floor, you know. But the cars are always worse in person. So you're warned. If you go to look at a car that needs towers in it, look. Even this car was worse than what I thought when I started really, when I had it jacked up, changing wheels. I'm like, wow, it's nice. I can see my bolts, and they're penciled. Meaning that they're basically, if I took a hammer to the bolt, it'd probably break in half in one good swing. Might even try it, just to show you guys. When I go to do this, obviously. Not right now. But, that being said, is it worth it to fix it? Like I said, I bought the car, $1,500, needs towers, so I went and bought a kit. I found this kit on Google. I just Googled strut tower, Foxbody, or Foxbody strut tower repair kit or something stupid like that. And Scott Rod Fab makes a kit. It's $100 a side. I bought both sides, so that's $200. Shipped, it was $215.25. $215.25. Now, ordering from them, you'll fill out your order. They'll email you. And then when your shipment's ready, they'll send you another email. And then you go and you pay. So it's a little weird how it works with payment. But they seem like a pretty decent company. And they do a lot of business. So honestly, I don't even know how they make this kit for what they're selling it for. There's a lot of time into this. All the breaks or folds, for some guys that don't know what a break means, that's your fold in this piece of metal right here. Whether they're using a hydraulic brake or whatever, you know, it's pretty nicely well made, pre-drilled. This stuff's actually already welded. Tube goes in there. So this is all the stuff you get. There's another piece. I'm only going to show you guys one side because other side's the same. But so you get two of these front and back. Two of those for the bolts. All this stuff is marked numerically. This one has a 1 on it. This one has a 2 on it. 3, 4, and then there's really no need to put a number on these because if you're into these cars, you kind of know where they go. If you're not into the cars, though, it's kind of common sense where the little sleeves go. Obviously, they're going to go inside the box and get welded in there. So, for the new guys, like I said, hang around. But getting back to this, $200 plus shipping. Comes with instructions. It's written. Tells you what you need. Tape measure, Sharpie, small cutoff wheel on die grinder, air angle grinder with abrasive pad. Don't really need an air grinder, but weldable, primer, spray can, spot weld cutter. Now my list is a little different than this. Tape measure, yes. Even me, I probably won't use that, but I might. So I have them. Tape measure, Sharpie, for sure, Sharpie, or some type of marker. Cutoff wheel. I use a 4-inch cutoff wheel, and I use these, might actually be 4.5-inch. 4.5-inch cutoff wheel, 4.5-inch flap disc. I get these from Benchmark Abrasives. So if you're going to do anything with cutting or grinding, definitely check out Benchmark Abrasives because these are cheap on their site. Get like a whole box for what you'll pay for 2 of these from Lowe's or Home Depot. So Benchmark Abrasives, go on their site, order a box or a couple boxes. I try to get a couple of cutoff wheels and those flap discs. You will need a grinder. I guess you can get these from Harbor Freight for like $10 or $20. I think the last time I bought one, it was like $10 for the cheap one. They do burn out, but you should be able to get the job done. And if it burns out within like 30 days, you can take it back and get another one. So there's that. A sawzall and some cutting blades for metal. Definitely will make it easier because you can just cut right up the frame rail. Now, these instructions that they give you, pretty nicely detailed for the most part. Has the parts, tells you which way they go. Pretty simple. Common sense definitely helps when doing this, but if you don't have common sense, and I don't mean that offensively, some people are more so book smart than, you know, being able to look at something and say, oh, that goes together this way. Some people have that, some people don't. And I'm not trying to be negative to anybody, just being honest. If you don't have common sense and you struggle maybe with how things go together, don't get deterred. This is pretty, it's metal. It can be fixed. For the guys that are new, the main people I want to tackle with this are guys that are willing to do stuff on their own. Don't let this stuff scare you. If you got a car that needs a strut tower in it, you can save it. Now the cost part and the time you're going to have into it, that's where it comes into, is it worth it to you? As the owner of whatever car you have that needs strut towers in it, is it worth it to you to fix them? Is the car worth it to be fixed? Is the rest of the car solid? Are the floors rotted out? Are the quarters rotted out? Is the roof banged up? Is the cowl panel messed up? Now, you can fix the whole car if you really want to. If it's sentimental value, I get it. I got one right here that I love that car to death. So, the stuff that I gotta fix on it, I gotta fix on it. Like, getting rid of that car for me isn't really an option. So, that being said, the wagon, is it worth it to fix it? Same deal goes for you. Wagon needs a lot. There's a lot of things you guys don't even know about this wagon that it needs. It needs the front of the floors done because the windshield leaks. It's another thing I got to take care of. So that's two things. The strut towers are so bad that it's almost one part is actually non-existent. Like if I showed you guys how bad it really was, you tear me up for even driving the car right now. But it's bad. So you guys will see in the future how bad it is, but it's bad. It's actually non-existent in one part of the frame rail. So for me, I didn't know it was that bad when I went to get the car, obviously, but I did know it needed towers, so it didn't faze me when I saw how bad it was. And then obviously when I got it home, I saw it was worse. So hence the kit. Now, the cost factor and time for me, I'm pulling the motor and trans out of the car regardless of putting a stick in it. So for me to do that, I'm going to be there. It's just another couple bolts to drop that K-member. Now while I'm there, this is the rabbit hole, I am going to put a K-member in the car. You might as well. Especially if it's a car that you want to drag race. If you're trying to make one perfect in stock, then by all means use the stock K-member if that's what you want. It's your car, make it how you want it. For the younger guys who want something just to have fun with, maybe you're getting into racing, whatever the case may be, or you just want something to, or you always wanted a Foxbody, whatever the case may be. It don't matter how beautiful it turns out, you can always go back and fix it later. Alright? Fix it the best way you can now, and learn. If you don't know what you're doing, learn. You're going to have to learn on something sometime if you're going to be into this stuff. If you're watching this video, you're clearly here to learn something. So go out there and learn. However, I'm not saying go out there and just totally annihilate your Mustang or Foxbody car by trying to put towers in it. I'm saying get a welder, get some metal, learn how to weld where it's good enough, where the penetration's right. And if you don't know what any of this means, that's the burn of what you're welding, how it burns through the metal. Learn all that stuff. There's YouTube videos of guys explaining it much better than I ever will be able to explain it. And learn how to do it. I'm serious. Because this is a skill. Once you pick it up, it's something you can use in a career later on down the road. And I'm talking to anybody that is willing to learn it, not just younger guys. If you're 60 years old and want to learn how to weld something, by all means, go for it. But it is labor extensive. Like I said, motor and trans, it has to come out. There's no way you're doing it with the motor and trans in the car. The strut towers or the struts, all that stuff have to come out of the car. The K-member, the struts, basically the whole front end of the car has to come apart to do it. Fenders don't have to necessarily come off. Easier if they are off. But brake lines need to be moved. Not necessarily unhooked, but definitely moved. So if you are playing with them, if they're rotted, they're most likely going to break. If you have a good brake line, you can probably kind of push them out of the way, tie them back with a bungee cord to the firewall, something like that, but make sure they are out of your way completely. As much as you can. Like I said, I'm doing a 5-speed swap, so my whole booster and everything, I'll probably pull it out and try to swing it over. It's labor extensive, guys. It's not easy, but it's also not as hard as you're probably thinking. Guys take fabrication, and I'm not saying it's not an art. I'm not saying it's not skillful. But they take it and they blow it way out of proportion. Now, maybe it's just because I have some experience in it. I'm not the best at measuring stuff. I can do stuff by eye better than I probably can with a tape measure, to be honest with you. And there's times where I even get lost in when I'm cutting tubing and things where it's like, what angle do I need to cut this at? And I have to really think about it. And there's times where my brain hurts thinking about it. But you can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. That's how I look at it, because I'm nobody special. Like, God didn't just gift me with the skills and stuff I have. I had to learn it just like anybody else. So if I can learn it, anybody else can learn it. Now, the labor's a lot. I've said that already. Time, which is labor, but you're going to have a lot of time in it, not just hard work. It takes time to actually cut, grind, mark, measure, however you end up doing it. You're going to have a lot of time alone into doing it, especially if you've never done it. Parts wise, pretty cheap. Unless you're going to do a K-member and stuff, then obviously you can up it. This could go all the way up to like $3,000 to $5,000, depending how much. If you go with like a gangster strut setup, a nice new tubular chromoly K-member, all that stuff, double adjustable struts, drop spindles. If you go through the whole front end, it gets expensive quick, very quick. I mean, you're talking, I don't even know what a Flaming River rack costs now with the steering shaft and all. I haven't looked, but I know they used to be $500 for just the rack, and then the shaft I think was like $200 or $300. So you're talking, what's that, $800 right there. The K-member kit is roughly $800, so that's $16. This $200, so $1,800, and then a nice set of coilovers and well, they come with the coilovers, but nice set of double adjustable struts. You're looking at roughly $1,000 there. Even strange 10-ways, they're $300. So, like I said, it could be as high as probably $5,000, depending what you buy. I'm doing this as budget as possible. I'm going to try to find everything used, or maybe even steal it out of my other car and then just buy a new setup for that. I'm not sure yet. It depends what I find. If you're somebody who just wants to have a fun car, though, go out there and do this. You can do it relatively cheap. However, you are going to need a welder, like I said, the grinders, like I said, or a grinder, and then all the other little stupid crap. So let's talk about welders. What welder do you need to do this? Because you just don't want to go out and buy whatever welder to do it. Personally, I bought a used welder many years ago. It's a Lincoln Weld Pack HD or something like that, 130, I think. It's a 110 plug flux core welder. I think it cost me like 130 or 150 bucks. And I've had this thing for years now. That I think about it. Probably close to 10 years, I guess. I've had it. So I don't even know how old the welder actually is. That welder, I use it for a lot of crap. I've used it to do strut towers. So that's an option. You could go out, find a used welder. They're roughly, you can find something for under 300 bucks right now online. I just looked, so that way I could give you guys real prices with this. New, you're looking upwards of anywhere at least 500 on up to 1,000 for a good cheap welder. Harbor Freight Vulcan, pretty good welder. I know people who have them, used them, they do good work with them. They work well. The one I have is a Weld Pro. I think it was 800 bucks. Love it. It's a dummy welder, meaning it has a cheat sheet. You select the gauge metal that you're working with, and it sets parameters in that welder preset. And then you can tune it from there, fine tune it to your style. Their customer service is great. Now that's a MIG welder that can go 110 and 220. It requires gas, so you have to factor in a bottle for that. I don't even know what gas costs. I've been out of it for probably almost a year now. I have to go buy gas. I've been using the flux core welder to do stuff lately. But for this, I am going to go buy a gas and weld it. I also have a Weld Pro TIG that was around $1,200. That thing's awesome as well. I use that for aluminum. So I'm not really great with aluminum, but I've done a couple little things. I just want to have the stuff to do my own crap here. So I figure if I need it, I'll buy it. It's a skill that I can learn, and it's a skill that I can go into a job with my resume and say, I know how to do this. That's why when it comes to fabrication, it's an investment in my eyes. It's not, you're not going to spend money on fabrication unless you end up giving up and not learning it. You're not going to spend money into this and never ever use it. You'll use this for something, whether it be a job, your own stuff, whatever. It's a good skill just to have to learn. So you're looking at roughly, if you do this all yourself, you're looking at probably, if you do it on the cheap side, you could probably do it for $500 to $800, under $1,000, I'd be willing to say. On the higher side of things, just in material, meaning the strut tower kit, welder, the tools you're going to need, you're looking probably closer to $15,000 to $2,000. So some people can just go out and buy a car for that, find a roller, spend $1,500, but you're just going to pull a motor, put it in. You're not going to learn a skill and also in the process save a car from being junked. Or if you sell it to somebody who's going to fix it, maybe. But if you're just planning on junking that car, it's another one gone. That means the price of these cars just went up that much more. So this process is about saving them, keeping them on the road, keeping them alive. And It's a lot of work, but in the end, I think it's worth it if the car is worth it. Now, that being said, I have junked a couple of these cars. I've sold them to people who have also junked them. Not necessarily for strut towers, but just because I got the car cheap, pulled everything out of it, parted it out. All that's left is a set of quarters and basically frame rails. And see you later. Because I'm not keeping a bare shell around, and nobody is going to pay really for a bare shell. A couple $100, junk it, get it out of here. So, I've done it myself. I don't blame anybody for doing it. But now they're becoming classics and harder to find clean ones. So now I guess is the time to kind of start fixing them, or try to. So that's pretty much everything that I got for this. I'm gonna do my best to show you guys the wagon when I do it, pulling the motor out, K-member, all that stuff, so you guys get the gist of the Foxbody. A Mustang's pretty much the same deal when it comes to all that stuff. It's nuts, bolts, and same layout. Just in a boxy, ugly, luxury vehicle, I guess. But, well, you got Mustang, Capri, Granada, Thunderbird, Fairmont, Zephyr, LTD, Grand Marquis or Marquis, whatever those the other LTD one is. All those Foxbody platform cars. It's all pretty much the same gist. So hopefully I helped you guys out, especially the newer guys that are just getting into this stuff. Don't get upset if you bought a car and then you end up seeing that it needs strut towers. It can be fixed. So it just isn't worth it to you to fix it. So you can learn something and save a car in the process. It's an investment. Car just became that much more resale value wise. You get some enjoyment out of it. Doesn't have to be pretty the first time you do it. You can always go back and fix it. It's just metal. Even if you overcut, you can fill that stuff in and do whatever you got to do. It's just going to be more work for you. So play with some steel, buy a welder if you don't have one. Learn all that stuff, buy some metal, measure out whatever if you want, cut it, weld it back together, grind it, and learn. That's the best advice I can give you. And honestly, it's probably one of the most important pieces of advice I could give you is to invest into this stuff. In my eyes, at least, it's important. So it's a skill set, like I said, you could take with you for a career or anything. So it's nothing better than learning something that can get you paid. All right? Unless it comes to God, and that's way more important. But that's a whole different topic. So I'll keep it to this. But that's pretty much it, guys. Strut tower, Foxbody repair. Is the investment worth it to you? It is to me, at least on this one. So, that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you're new and you like this stuff, like and subscribe if you don't mind. I'll have more videos in the future with this and the wagon, hopefully soon. I plan on ripping the car apart after I race Matt. And hopefully you guys get to see it. I'll do my best. All right, guys. Until next time. See you guys around.